Can you spend a moment thinking of frontline healthcare workers who are dealing with COVID-19, for whom the observed reality is that people are dying all over the planet? We just want to nitpick a little bit. Their personal observation is what's in front of them. The all over the globe part is what you were feeling when you wrote the question. If they're focused in this moment and they're focused on solution, they may be focused upon something other than that. But we get what you're talking about, and we are not minimizing it in any way. Please, can you think of any new, fresh advice for these people and for me? So this subject is about death, and you've been listening to us for a while. You know that we know there isn't any of that because we are all eternal. You are too. But we know what you mean. It's an ending to the perspective that you have here in this physical experience. Unless you've practiced being tuned to the whole of who you are, so you have awareness and feeling and sensing of your eternalness. Once you get that, then there will not be a sting that comes with focused upon endedness, because there isn't any endedness unless you just work at it and want to feel bad about it for some reason. You can superimpose a lot of things over that, but there is more of a choice here even than you are giving yourself credit for. I'm going to tell you a story or two. When Esther was at her parents' home and her father was in the process of making his transition, and her dear sister who lived near them and who was with him day and night for quite a long time, she was doing everything that she could to stave off this experience that everyone knew was inevitable. And she was very creative. She had rigged up the oxygen so that she'd put 2 tanks together and had more hoses going into his nostrils. Very innovative. Esther was so impressed. And then she decided to do something that she had not been doing. She decided to go to her house and take a shower. And while she was gone, while only the healthcare worker was there, her father made his transition. And when she returned, she was so upset that she had not been there, and later was talking to Esther and their other sister about it, feeling such sadness that she had missed that moment, and such sadness that she was not there to comfort her father. And Esther tuned in to her father. She found the feeling of him. She could not observe him. He was no longer there in that bed he had been in, but she felt him, and she felt this overwhelming, hard to contain sense of well-being and joy and happiness that her father was conveying. As Esther tuned into him where he was, Esther said, "No, sweet sister, don't feel bad about this. He has reemerged into the wholeness of who he is. He is joyful." Esther felt goosebumps all over her body. She knew for sure that she was knowing her father where he was. One day, Jerry was watching television with the mute on. He did that at night. He wanted to see the weather for the next day. And as he was watching it, he saw some photographs of Burl Ives, someone that almost everyone knew at the time, very famous actor and singer, and he was a friend of Jerry and Esther's. And they had visited him a few months earlier, and as Jerry saw the images go across the screen, he called out to Esther, "Something must be going on with Burl, because there are pictures of him on the screen." And Esther sat and asked us if we could help her understand what was happening. And Esther managed, with the good timing of Jerry looking up just at that moment, to tap into him in the moment of him making his transition. And she got to feel the exhilaration of what it feels like in one fell swoop to leave behind all doubt and fear and worry and unworthiness, all feelings of lack, leaving in a moment as you reemerge into the wholeness of who you are. We are not minimizing the pain that those who are remaining in physical are feeling. And we know if you haven't practiced this, maybe it's not the experience for you that it was for Esther, who had been practicing with us for a while. We just want all of you to know that there is not death, that there is only eternal, everlasting life, and that you are joyful in the moment that you release your resistance. And so, another question. I wonder at the numbers that are rejoining the non-physical right now, if you are not all having the most outrageous party in the non-physical. That's what we were getting at. It is a party. It is a party of exhilaration. But we also want you to know, Esther wanting to soothe herself the other day when she saw some statistics, and we inspired her to a Google exercise, and she Googled how many people die in the United States every day on average, and it was between 7,500 and 7,700 per day. That's a lot of people making their transition and joining that party. That's a lot of people. And again, we're not minimizing what this virus is doing in the speeding up process. We are just wanting you to know that if your subject is death and you are worried about people who are dying, you don't need to worry about their experience, because their experience is a good experience. You might want to do something about your own attention to it, though, because we don't want you to feel bad. We don't want you to feel bad, not for a moment. We don't want you to feel bad, not for a moment. Life is supposed to feel good to you, and your inner being is living the bigger part of your life and is loving it, and it is feeling good. And you can get in on that, coronavirus or not, if you want to, if you want to. You may want to keep this and remember it once this experience, the intensity of it is past. Because even after this intensity is past, still there will be a lot of people in your nation dying every day, or doing that thing that isn't, that you call death. We like to call it croaking. Others think that that's disrespectful, and we don't mean it to be disrespectful. We are not disrespectful of any aspect of you. I want to just sit there for a minute. I want you to take that in. Lots of celebration where we are about that. Lots of celebration. Lots of celebration about that conversation. Lots of celebration. Maybe you're getting some goosebumps too.